Lock the doors, dim the lights, and step into the archive. I am the curator, and these are tonight's selections. I installed the camera because of my landlord. Not because he was dangerous, just strange. When I first moved into the apartment, he gave me the keys and said something that stuck in my head longer than it should have. He looked down the hallway toward my door and said quietly, "People don't usually stay in that room very long." I laughed, thinking he was joking. He didn't laugh back. Then he added something even stranger. "If you ever wake up at night, don't check the hallway." At the time, I brushed it off. Old buildings always have weird rumors. But after a few weeks living there, I started noticing things. Small things at first. My bedroom door sometimes being slightly open when I was sure I had closed it. A faint sound in the hallway late at night. Slow footsteps. Not walking, more like dragging. The building itself was old. Very old. The wooden floors creaked constantly. The walls were thin, and the hallway lights flickered almost every night. Still, something about the sounds didn't feel normal. It felt like someone was walking past my door at the exact same time every night. So I bought a small security camera online. Nothing fancy, just a cheap night vision camera that records movement. I placed it on a small shelf inside my bedroom, pointing directly at the door. First, nothing happened. The camera recorded empty footage every night. No movement, no sounds, just hours of darkness. Then one morning, I noticed something strange. The camera app on my phone showed a notification. Motion detected 3:12 a.m. That confused me. I checked the clip. The video started in darkness. Night vision turned everything green. The door to my bedroom was closed. The room looked exactly how I left it. Completely empty. But after a few seconds, the door handle moved. Very slowly, like someone was trying not to make noise. The door opened just a few inches. Then it stopped. Nothing else happened. No one came in. No one spoke. The door just stayed slightly open for about 30 seconds. Then it slowly closed again. I stared at the screen, trying to figure it out. Maybe I didn't close it properly. Maybe air pressure moved it. Old buildings do weird things, so I ignored it. But the next night, the camera recorded another motion alert. 3:12 a.m. I opened the footage immediately. This time the door opened a little wider, maybe 6 inches. The hallway light flickered outside, but the camera angle didn't show the hallway clearly. Only a thin slice of darkness beyond the doorway. No one stepped inside. No footsteps. No voices. Just the door opening slowly, and then closing again. The third night is when I started feeling uncomfortable. Because this time, something different happened. The motion alert appeared again. 3:12 a.m. Same exact time. Same exact second. I played the clip. The door handle turned. The door opened slowly. But this time, it opened all the way. The hallway light outside flickered again. And for the first time, something moved in the darkness beyond the door. A shadow, tall, standing just outside my room, completely still, watching the inside of my bedroom, watching me, sleeping. I couldn't see its face. The night vision camera didn't reach that far. But I could tell one thing clearly. It had been standing there for a long time, long enough to know exactly where the camera was. Because after a few seconds, the shadow slowly raised its hand and pointed directly at the camera. Then the video ended. That was the moment I checked the timestamp again, to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding something, because the motion alert said 3:12 a.m. But when I looked at the clock in the video, the time inside my room said something different. 3:11 a.m., which meant one terrifying thing. Whatever was standing in my doorway had been there for an entire minute, before the camera even noticed it. After watching the footage for the third time, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. That shadow in the hallway hadn't moved like a normal person. It didn't lean into the room. It didn't step forward. It just stood there, perfectly still, like it had been waiting, watching. The worst part wasn't the shadow itself. It was the way it pointed at the camera, slowly, deliberately, as if it knew exactly what the camera was, as if it wanted me to see it. I told myself there had to be a normal explanation. Maybe it was a neighbor walking past. Maybe the shadow was just a trick of the light. Maybe my tired brain was filling in details that weren't really there. So that night, I decided to stay awake. I wanted to see what actually happened at 3:12 a.m. I set an alarm for 3:10. Then I lay in bed with the lights off, pretending to sleep. The room was silent. The only sound was the faint hum of my phone charging on the desk. The camera's tiny red light blinked softly from the shelf. 2:58 a.m., 3:05 a.m., 3:09 a.m. My heart was beating faster with every passing minute. Then my phone vibrated. The alarm, 3:10 a.m. I turned it off immediately. The room stayed completely dark. I kept my eyes half closed, pretending to be asleep, listening, waiting. 3:11 a.m. The hallway outside was silent. For a moment, I thought maybe nothing would happen. Maybe the footage from the camera was just some strange coincidence. Then I heard it, a soft sound, right outside the door. Not footsteps, not walking, more like something slowly sliding across the floor. A faint dragging noise. My throat went dry. The sound stopped right outside my bedroom door. Then, the door handle moved, exactly like in the videos. Slow, quiet, careful. The door opened a few inches. I forced myself not to move, not to breathe too loudly. The hallway light flickered outside. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the door slowly opened wider. Halfway, then fully. Cold air drifted into the room. But I still didn't hear footsteps. That was the part that terrified me the most. Because if someone had opened the door, they should have stepped inside. But no one did. The doorway stayed empty. Just darkness beyond the frame. I wanted to turn my head. I wanted to see what was there. But fear kept me frozen. Seconds passed. Maybe 30. Maybe longer. Then something happened that I still can't explain. The camera on the shelf made a quiet click sound, like it had detected motion, but the doorway was still empty. Then I realized something horrifying. The camera wasn't pointing at the door anymore. It had tilted slightly, just enough to show more of the room, just enough to show the side of my bed, and something standing next to it. My eyes slowly opened, just a tiny bit, and what I saw in the darkness beside my bed made my entire body go cold. There was someone standing there, inside the room, watching me sleep, but I knew immediately it wasn't a person, because its feet weren't touching the floor. They were hovering a few inches above it, completely still, like it had been standing there for a long time. And just before the camera's night vision adjusted, the thing slowly leaned down toward my face and whispered something so quiet I almost didn't hear it. "Don't pretend you're asleep." I didn't move, not even a little. My eyes were barely open, just enough to see the dark shape beside my bed. The thing hovering next to me stayed completely still. No breathing, no sound, just watching. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure it could hear it. Then my phone buzzed softly on the desk. The sudden vibration made me flinch inside. But the thing beside the bed didn't react. It didn't move at all. Seconds passed. Then slowly, very slowly, the shape began to rise again, back to its original height, still hovering a few inches above the floor. Then it drifted backward, toward the door. But it didn't walk. It didn't step. It just slid through the air, like something pulling it away. When it reached the doorway, the hallway light flickered again. For a brief second, the light illuminated the shape. Just enough for me to see something that made my stomach twist. It had a face, but it wasn't clear. It looked wrong, like someone had tried to draw a human face from memory and forgot some details. The eyes were too dark, the mouth was stretched too wide, and the skin looked pale, almost gray. Then the hallway light went out. The room fell back into darkness. A second later, the bedroom door slowly closed. The sound of the latch clicking echoed through the room. Silence returned. I lay there for several minutes, unable to move. Eventually, I forced myself to sit up. The room looked normal again. The door was closed. The camera was still on the shelf. Everything looked exactly the same, except for the camera's small blinking light. It was recording. I grabbed my phone and opened the camera app. The notification appeared instantly. Motion detected 3:12 a.m. My hands were shaking as I opened the clip. The video started in night vision again. Green shadows filled the screen. The camera showed my bed, showed me sleeping, showed the door opening. But something was different this time. The figure entered the room, slowly floating toward the bed, exactly like I remembered. My breathing became shallow as I watched the footage, because now I could see the thing clearly. The camera had captured its face, and the moment it leaned down beside me, the thing whispered something. The video had audio, so I turned the volume up and replayed the moment. The whisper was distorted, quiet, but still understandable. What it said made my blood turn cold, because it wasn't the same thing I heard. In the video, it said something different. It whispered, "Tomorrow night, you'll open the door for me." I immediately paused the video, my heart racing, because I knew something was wrong, very wrong. I had locked the bedroom door before going to sleep. I always locked it. I stood up quickly and checked the door. The lock was still in place, still secure. No one could have opened it from the outside. But then my phone buzzed again. Another notification from the camera app. A new recording. Timestamp, 3:12 a.m. But when I looked at the clock in my room, it said 2:47 a.m. The camera had just recorded something that hadn't happened yet. I stared at the new recording on my phone. The timestamp still read 3:12 a.m. But the clock on my wall clearly said 2:47 a.m. That meant the camera had recorded something 25 minutes in the future. My hands were shaking as I pressed play. The video began exactly like the others. Night vision. The door. My bed. Me sleeping. Then the bedroom door slowly opened. But this time, the lock turned first. From the inside, my stomach dropped, because in the video, I could clearly see my own hand reaching out from the bed, unlocking the door, opening it, letting it in. I immediately paused the video. That hadn't happened. I was wide awake, sitting on the edge of my bed. The door was still locked, still closed. I checked the clock again. 2:49 a.m., 23 minutes before the video's timestamp. My chest felt tight. If the footage was real, then in 23 minutes, I would somehow unlock the door and open it. But I knew one thing for certain. I wasn't going to do that. Not tonight. I grabbed a chair and shoved it against the door. Then I dragged my desk across the floor and pushed it in front of the chair. If something tried to open the door, it wouldn't move. The camera light blinked silently from the shelf. Watching. Recording. The minutes crawled by slowly. 3 a.m. 3:05 a.m. 3:09 a.m. I kept my eyes locked on the door, waiting. The hallway outside was silent. Then my phone buzzed again. Another motion notification. Motion detected. 3:12 a.m. I looked at the wall clock. 3:11 a.m. My stomach twisted. That meant the moment from the video was about to happen. The door handle moved, exactly like before. Slowly, quietly, but the chair and desk held it in place. The door couldn't open. The handle rattled again, harder this time. The hallway light flickered through the crack under the door. Something was definitely outside, trying to come in. Then my phone buzzed again. Another notification from the camera. A new video. Timestamp, 3:12 a.m. My hands were shaking as I opened it. The footage began. Night vision again. But something was different. In this video, the door never opened. The chair blocked it. Just like in real life, I felt a small wave of relief until the camera slowly adjusted its focus. And I realized something horrifying. The door wasn't the problem anymore. Because in the video, the thing wasn't entering from the door. It was already inside the room, standing directly behind the camera. Watching me, the camera slowly tilted downward, as if someone had touched it. Then the video ended. My phone buzzed again. One final notification. Motion detected. 3:13 a.m. I slowly looked up from the screen, and that's when I heard it. Right behind me, a soft whisper, close to my ear. Your camera showed you the wrong door.